Hello, everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Mike and Mike Show. Of course, it's just me today. Things didn't work out, that with my schedule and things. Mike didn't, is not here for the video. So I'm going to do the video for Monday Night Raw, and then I think what we're going to do is we're going to get together and we're going to do a video for the AEW Dynamite show this week, which should be a big show. So we'll have that coming up on the channel probably Thursday, maybe Friday, and then might have a video on Sunday. I'm not sure just yet as far as that goes, but I know we will definitely be doing one for Dynamite, which, like I said, is on Wednesday, so I should be able to do the video Thursday and get it posted on Thursday. So with that being said, let's get into Monday Night Raw from last night. There's a lot to talk about as far as last night goes, and this Friday on SmackDown. They're doing the WWE Draft, which will start Friday on SmackDown, which I will not be able to watch, and then it will conclude on Monday on Monday Night Raw of next week. So what I'll probably try to do is get as much info as I can on the Friday show as far as draftees go, and then Monday do a review of the Monday Night Raw show for Tuesday, and then talk about all the drafts on Tuesday of next week and see where we go from there. Now, last night we opened up with Cody Rhodes came out to do a promo for his match against Brock Lesnar at Backlash, which is not this Sunday, but next Sunday. And during this promo, he talked about the scarring that he had for the torn pec, and talked about that. And injuries come, injuries go, but he focused on that and said that he had been through a lot, and it was going to take more than that beating that Brock Lesnar gave him to put him out, to keep him down. And then we had Finn Balor come out, and I'm like, okay, this could be interesting. So Balor comes out and tries to recruit Cody Rhodes to join up with Judgment Day, which he turns him down, and that leads into a match later on between Cody Rhodes and Finn Balor. Excited for that, Bullet Club versus Bullet Club. Then we go into the Usos and Solo Sikoa versus Legado del Fantasma. And for those of you who don't know that, they're the LWO now, but it used to be Santos Escobar and his two buddies from NXT that moved up to the roster on SmackDown. It was a decent match. It was a pretty good match. It's something we hadn't seen before, thank God. Finally something that was different on the show that we haven't seen week after week after week, or some variation of. So, it was a good match. I really enjoyed seeing the two work together. And it had its high spots and had some pretty cool spots in it. So it was a decent match. I was really glad they had that. So then after we had that, then we had a promo with Bianca Belair talking about her match versus Io Sky at Backlash, and how she was the EST of this, that, and the other, which then was broke up by Damage Control. And that led into a 6-man tag match between Damage Control and two partners that Bianca had to find for this match later on in the show. Nothing major, just blah, blah, blah. Okay, then we had the commercial break, which they always got to have a commercial break in there somewhere. So then we come back, and there's a promo backstage with Jay, who runs into Sammy and is talking about their tag team title match this Friday night on SmackDown, and what could happen if the Usos do not win that match. Now, this goes back to the match at the start of the show with the Usos and Legado del Fantasma, because after the match was over, the Usos declared that they were dedicating this match on Friday, this title shot win on Friday, to Roman Reigns. Okay? So now what happens if they lose this match? And that's what Sammy was trying to say. You should be trying to wrestle this match and win this match for you and your brother, not for Roman Reigns, because Roman Reigns, again, is just using you as backup, basically, is what Sammy was trying to say. So they're kind of playing mind games with each other, and that kind of got in Jay's head a little bit. So then, after we do that, it goes to a recap of the Trish promo, and then she turns around and does another promo where she basically just says pretty much the same stuff that she said on the last promo. Hey, I'm a bad guy. Look at me. I'm a heel now. So nothing major there. Still, nothing confirmed new anyway. So then after we go to that, then we have a match which I wasn't really expecting because they hadn't advertised anything on it, and I really wasn't looking for it to be as good as it was. It was a pretty good match. It was the Street Profits versus Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. Now that was a very decent match. I'm glad that they have put Benjamin and Cedric back on TV. Those two guys, when they were in the Hurt Business, that was a tag team that was synonymous with tag team wrestling. So, it was a decent match. It was a really good match. One that I enjoyed watching. Very much so. Sorry, that was a phone going off. But anyway, now, so that was a decent match. They had that. It was great. Now, they had advertised earlier to show that there was supposed to be this big announcement that Triple H was going to make that was going to rock the foundation of WWE altogether. Well, yeah, he comes out and he begins to talk about Roman Reigns and his epic title reign. I think the way that I've been told from other sites and other, news shows on wrestling, that they want Roman Reigns to beat Bruno Sammartino's record as world champion. No, that should not happen. I'm sorry. No. This is a new era, a new time. You don't need to go and beat somebody's record, especially a record of one of the greats like Bruno Sammartino. No. But anyways, so what he has decided to do, his announcement is that he has made a new World Heavyweight Championship. Now, what's going to happen with this is, when they have the draft on Friday and Monday, whichever show that Roman Reigns gets drafted to, he stays on as that champion with both those titles. And then the opposite show, which would, if he stays on let's say for instance, he stays on SmackDown. So then this new championship goes to Raw, and they have a match to determine a World Heavyweight Champion for the Raw show, for the Raw brand. Or vice versa, whichever way the draft works. They're not going to have this match to declare the new world champion until after the draft, and it won't be until the Saudi Arabia show in May before they have the finals of this tournament or whatever it is that they're going to do to declare a new world champion for whichever brand. First of all, it seems to me like you're letting Roman Reigns slide by with holding on to this belt when he should be defending the belt pretty much every pay-per-view like it used to be. I know times have changed, but come on. He's way up there as far as days as champion, and now you're letting him slide into this part-time status like it's no big deal. Why not call him Brock Lesnar instead of Roman Reigns? We went through this stuff with Brock, and a lot of people didn't like it because he was a part-timer. He was coming in whenever he wanted to, and defend the belt, but he held on to the belt, for months because he was a part-timer. Now you're going to turn around, you're going to do the same thing with Roman Reigns. So then you decide, we'll just make another title. That way, when Roman wants to take off, he can take off, and we'll have this champion defend his belt and make him work his rear end off while Roman Reigns sits on his. I don't like it. I'm sorry. I've wanted, both brands to have a world champion, but not like this. Not like this. This is just, to me, this is just kissing Roman Reigns' butt so he can be champ for however long he decides he wants to be. I don't like it. I'm sorry, but I just don't. But anyway, that was his big announcement, was bringing in that new title, which I'll put a picture of that title over here somewhere. But I don't like it. It's ugly. I wish they would have went back with the original world title with the winged belt that was they had back in the day. But this one is just I don't know. I'm not fond of it at all. So after we do that, then we have a Damian Priest promo about Bad Bunny and where he beat the crap out of Bad Bunny the week before. He stuck his nose in Judgment Day business where it didn't belong, that kind of thing. So then that led into the promo for his match later on in the show against Rey Mysterio. Now, through this whole show, they were talking about Bad Bunny's here. Bad Bunny's coming. He's on his way. He's here now. He should be here in a little while. So they were building up Bad Bunny to show up on the show through the whole thing, almost. So, that right there should have told you that they're going to have, the Damian Priest match against Rey Mysterio, and then Bad Bunny's going to show up. I mean, that's a given right there. Anybody who's watched it for years, knows this is a given. That's what's going to happen. So after they set that up, then they go into the Damage Control match, which it was, Bayley and Io and Dakota against Bianca Belair and whoever her two tag team partners were, which turned out to be the women's tag team champions, Raquel Rodriguez and Liv Morgan. It was a good match. It was decent. It was okay. Of course, Belair and Rodriguez and Morgan win. But I think it kind of put a little more pressure on the story between the breakup of Damage Control, because Bayley's the one that got pinned. And Io is trying to set up, some sort of, momentum going into her championship match. So she really needed to win. So that loss kind of put more emphasis on that story, and maybe we'll get more on that as the weeks go by. Maybe they'll build on that some more and actually start showing real signs of trouble within the group. So then after they have that, then we go into Austin Theory, who comes out for a promo. And this guy, I'm so sick of this guy, really, honestly. But anyways, he comes out for a promo and announces that there's going to be a match at Backlash between him and Bobby Lashley and Bronson Reed for the United States Championship. Now, I'm really excited for this triple threat match. Okay? I mean, I know I've said before that I don't like Austin Theory, but the man can go. There's no doubt he can go. And when you put Bobby Lashley and Bronson Reed in the mix with this guy, this match is probably going to steal the show at the pay-per-view. Hands down. Me and my buddy, me and Mike was talking about it last night. That match very well could steal the whole show at the pay-per-view. Now, I hope they put the title on Bronson Reed. I would love to see Bronson Reed on a run with that United States title. But at this point, I really don't know. I'm kind of getting tired of seeing, Austin Theory with the belt, much like I am Roman Reigns with the world title. But, I'd really love to see Bronson Reed get a run with that U.S. belt and see what he can do with it. I look for big things out of Bronson Reed. I really do. I did the first time I seen him on NXT. And then when they let him go, it was just like, okay, now what? He's going to go back to independence and squander in the independent scene. But then when they brought him back, I was like, yeah, he's back. He's going to do something now. So we'll have to see what goes on with that. So during that promo, Bobby Lashley came out and confronted Austin Theory, which broke out into a fight. And then Bronson Reed came out and jumped Lashley. So Theory and Reed beat up Lashley for a little while, and then Reed turned on Theory and took him down, and then he was the last man standing in the ring holding up the United States Championship to end the segment on that one. So then we go to the backstage where we see American Alpha talking about the draft, trying to explain the draft to Elias and Boogs in the back, and I don't even know why Boogs is there, basically. But anyways, then we get so they're talking about that, and then somehow or another it ends up with Mustafa Ali getting involved in the conversation and putting up talking about a match against Chad Gable in the show. Now, they were in Chicago. So, okay, they're in Chicago, but Mustafa Ali is from Chicago. So I wonder who's going to win this match. I mean, can it be any more obvious? You don't have him on the show for weeks at a time, and all of a sudden, they're in his hometown. He's got a match. So they have Mustafa Ali versus Chad Gable, which was a decent match, but of course, Mustafa Ali won because he was the hometown boy. So, okay, yeah, didn't really need that match, but I'm glad you had it because you took somebody that was sitting in catering and actually let him on TV for a little while. So, great, good on you. Okay, so then after we do that, they pan out to Jimmy finding Sammy in the back and talking to Sammy about what would happen on Friday if Sammy and Kevin lose the tag team titles back to the Usos. Talking about how Kevin's going to be mad because they lost the titles and he's going to turn on Sammy. So putting that little mind game in on their side as well. And told Sammy not to worry about what was going to happen between the Usos because he was no longer involved in that family. So, So they're just playing my games back and forth, cutting promos, trying to hype up the tag team title match, which I don't even know why they're having the tag team title match on Friday. They should have had the 6-man tag on Friday and then had the tag team title match at the pay-per-view. Makes more sense. To me, anyways. But whatever. All right. So then they have Finn Balor and Cody Rhodes, which Cody wins, of course. Cody, it was a good match. That was probably one of the better matches on the card, actually, from last night. I was kind of excited to watch that match, but like I said, it was an okay match. It could have went a lot longer, which would have been better for me, but it was good. It was good. So then after that match, Seth Rollins comes out next to announce that he has a match at Backlash against Omos. Yeah. Why is Rollins fighting Omos? It's something new, yeah. But has there been any kind of build-up for it at all? Not that I've seen. Unless I missed something somewhere. But okay, you got to have a match. You got to have a match. All right. But then he starts talking about the match against Omos at Backlash and then turns his attention towards that new world title belt, which he claims that is going to be his somewhere down the line. Which then brings out Omos, who feels like he's being disrespected because Rollins is looking past him. So, then you have that, and then of course, MVP is spouting off, trying to promote the match, which is okay, MVP is a good talker. MVP can talk. Omos cannot. My house is not a promo. But MVP is put there for that reason. And MVP's good at what he does. Despite me, whether I like him or not, he's good at cutting promos and talking on that mic. So, which after, MVP has his little spiel, then Seth says, well, I'm going to beat Omos at the pay-per-view with a curb stomp, la, la, la. Then the fans sing Seth Rollins' music as he walks back up the aisle. No biggie. Okay. Then we go back to where there is a promo in the back between Kevin, Sammy, and Matt Riddle. And Sammy admits to Kevin that he had been talking to Jimmy and Jay about the tag match this weekend. So Kevin gets mad because he doesn't think Sammy should be focusing on what's going on in the bloodline. He should be focusing on retaining the tag team titles this Friday, which I understand that. That's a good point. he should be focusing on holding on to those titles and not worrying about, the bloodline. But it's a storyline, so, whatever. Now, then it's time for the main event where we have Rey Mysterio versus Damian Priest. Then after a commercial break, there was an announcement that Brock Lesnar will be on Monday Night Raw next week for probably another 5 minutes, where he comes out and does nothing. Joy. Anyways, so we get into the main event match. During the match, they pan, they do the, in screen, 2 different screens, they show Bad Bunny arriving at the arena. Did I not tell you this was going to happen? So Bad Bunny shows up at the arena, and at the time that he shows up, Damian Priest gets frustrated because he can't pin Rey, so he goes out and gets a steel chair, whacks Rey with the chair, and gets disqualified and proceeds to do a beatdown, which Bad Bunny comes out with a kendo stick and starts wailing away on Damian Priest. Then when Priest decides to back off and head up the aisle, Bad Bunny gets up on the broadcast table and said he's no longer hosting WrestleMania Backlash. He is challenging Damian Priest to a match at Backlash, a street fight at Backlash. Okay, fine, all well and good. Bad Bunny did a heck of a job in the last match he was in. He was incredible. I kind of hated on it a little bit because he wasn't really a wrestler. He was an entertainer, a artist, a music artist. And I think if you're going to do one, then you need to dump the other. I don't think you need to focus on doing both. But hey, Chris Jericho does it. And Chris Jericho is still, pretty decent at it. So there's that. So, all in all, it was a pretty decent show last night. I was able to stay awake to watch all of it. They had a little bit here and a little bit there that they could have cut a little bit and took out, but everything on the show either built up for the draft or it built up for the pay-per-view, which is what you want to do. You want to start building up matches for your pay-per-view, because right now, before last night, they only had maybe 3 matches that were going to be on pay-per-view. That was it. They needed to build up more, unless they'd built some up on Friday and I didn't watch. But, anyway, so now they've got matches built up for the pay-per-view, which is great, But I'm really excited to see how this draft turns out. I would really like to see the new title stay on Monday Night Raw. And I would love to see LA Knight drafted from SmackDown to Raw. I really think they could do something if they would put him on Monday Night Raw. Maybe put him with The Miz, let him work together a little bit. That could be interesting, especially if you put LA Knight as kind of a babyface character, maybe. But I would like to see him on Monday Night Raw. There's got to be somebody that you could put him with, other than The Miz, of course, that would make a decent tag team if you wanted to make a tag team out of it. Just somebody in general. I would love to see him feud with like Finn Balor or maybe AJ Styles. That would be awesome. But yeah, I'd love to see him go to Monday Night Raw. I don't know really a whole lot of who else I'd like to see come to Raw. I just know that there's going to be a lot of people switching brands, and I really don't know if it's going to be for the good or for the bad of it. But the draft is always interesting. They do get that right. It's always interesting to find out who's going where and what's going to happen and where to go from there. I just hope that when they do this draft, they don't start having rerun matches like they tend to do a lot. If you've seen it on SmackDown and you transfer and you draft them over to Raw, just because you're on a new show don't mean you want to have the same match that you just had on SmackDown all over again. They seem to do that quite a bit too. But anyways, All right, so that's all for that for Monday Night Raw. Like I said at the start of the video, Mike was unable to be here for this one, so he's wanting to do one for Dynamite on Wednesday because it's supposed to be, like I said, a big show. So I'll be more than happy to do a review on Dynamite because me and him both, we love AEW Dynamite. So yeah, that should be fun. And then hopefully after that, we'll do one for the draft on Monday after when we do our Monday Night Raw review of next week. We'll talk about the draft and everything that happened on the show. And I might try to do one on this weekend, maybe, if I can get stuff worked out. Maybe do something special this weekend, have video this weekend. So please, thank you so much for watching these videos, liking and subscribing, and just, turn on your notifications so you'll know when these videos come out, so you'll be able to catch them when they air. And, keep commenting, tell your friends about us, get us out there. Let's make this channel into something we really want it to be. And I hope everybody has a great night, a great evening, and we'll catch you in the next one. Night-night.